Welcome back. As we earlier said that we'll talk more about the friendly match that took place last night between Egypt and Niger, and to shed more light over this issue, we're most delighted to be joined over by the phone by Mr. Mohamed Adel, the sports critic. Good morning, Mr. Adel.
Good morning.
First, how do you evaluate the performance of both teams that participated yesterday in the friendly match?
Well, before talking about the performance of the Egyptian team versus Nigeria yesterday, we talk about that is the first game for the Portuguese coach Rui Vitória with the Egyptian team. So it will not be not that accurate to put any of our thoughts about the way that Rui Vitória dealing or putting tactics for the Egyptian team from the first game. But we can talk about that Vitória put some of the main players to play yesterday versus Niger, and I believe that he put in his mind the main team which will play in the next games. As he put Mohamed Salah, he put Ahmed Hijazi, he put Mohamed Al-Shinawi, he put Mustafa Mohamed as a central forward player. He put many players, Tariq Hamid in the midfield. So he put a decision about the main players who will be participating with Egypt in the next games, whether the friendly games or the not friendly games, the professional or the main games for the Egyptian team.
Right. As we all know that Egypt national football team defeated the Niger 3-0 in this friendly match, and of course it is under the Portuguese coach Rui Vitória. How efficient is that coach, and could be predictable that under the leadership of this coach they could bring more better results?
Well, Rui Vitória has a good CV as a coach. He did many good things with many clubs, as it's his first national team to coach. Egypt is the first national team for Rui Vitória to coach, but he has many many experiments and many teams to coach, like Benfica in Portugal, Spartak Moscow in Russia, and Nasr in Saudi Arabia, and he did many good results with them. Also, he did put for the world many players that they are doing and playing now, and they are one of the best players in the world nowadays. So Rui Vitória is one of the good coaches that I, from my point of view, believe that he will do great with the Egyptian team, beginning his path with playing versus Niger, and the next Tuesday with versus Liberia. I believe it's a good way of beginning with the Egyptian team before being played versus strong teams and high-level teams, which will, I believe, will happen next November before the World Cup, as there are many news that Egypt will face Belgium before the World Cup. So beginning with a medium or low-level teams, so as to test the players, to test the tactical way that I will play as a coach I play with. it's a good idea. So we begin yesterday versus Niger. Next Tuesday we play versus Liberia. There are a low or medium level teams in Africa, so as to put my main items and my main players, which will be the main team for the Egyptian national team in the next level of games.
Right. Of course, as we all know that, like I earlier said, that Egypt defeated Niger 3-0. The scorers were Mohamed Salah, who had the first score at the 43rd minute. We have also Mustafa Mohamed at the 55 minute, and later on there was a penalty that was played by Mohamed Salah at the 67th minute. So your own assessment of those three scores?
Well, as I told you, ma'am, that beginning versus Niger as the first game for Luis Vitoria as the Egyptian national team coach is a good idea, so as to put my first thoughts of the tactical way that I will play and all I implement for the Egyptian team. Mohamed Salah scored 2 goals for Egypt and getting back the way to goal after being a part of scoring goals with Liverpool in the last game. Also Mustafa Mohamed, and who is doing good with Nantes in France. And he scored a good goal. The most important thing for this game and the next game versus Liberia is finding a way to build an implementation for the national team and the tactical way for the national team, so I can build through and I can continue to play and implement and put in mind and put in for the team. Also, I choose the main players that the main team for Egypt, like putting Mohamed Salah, putting Mustafa Mohamed, putting Tariq Hamid, putting Ahmed Higazi, putting Mahmoud Hamdi Winch. They are the main players, and creating the harmony between all those players so as to play better games with the national Egyptian team.
Right. This is very important information that you just kindly mentioned right now, but from your own point of view, who was the star of this match?
I believe that there are many players, whether they play in the first half or in the second half. Mohamed Salah did great by scoring 2 goals yesterday and getting back to the scoring path, scoring goal path. I believe also Imam Ashur, who was playing in the second half, did great while assisting the second goal for Mustafa Mohamed. Many players doing good. The players who are playing for the Egyptian national team for the first time, like Mahmoud Hamada of Farko, like Mohamed Hamdi of Pyramids, they did great. They have the confidence to play with high-level players who are playing with the Egyptian national team, and the big clubs in Europe like Mohamed Salah, like Mustafa Mohamed, like Ahmed Higazi in Nasr Saudi Arabia, Tariq Hamid in Nasr in Saudi Arabia. All of these players have the great experience. When you mix the great experienced players with the first-time players for the Egyptian national team, and those players doing well, so Rui Vitoria begin to find a harmony between the players, and I believe it will be beneficial for the Egyptian football system and the Egyptian national team, in the near future, inshallah.
Right. Best wishes for our national team on Tuesday, inshallah. And of course, Mr. Mohamed Adel, the sports critic, would like to thank you so much for talking to the Breakfast Show. You have a beautiful day. And by this, we come to the end of this edition of the Breakfast Show for today. Many thanks to all of you. Until we see you again, once again tomorrow morning, that's a goodbye.